Hi. So, I want to start off by thanking everybody sincerely for the beautiful comments that I got yesterday on my picture of when I had my accident. So I sincerely really mean, I get the love. Thank you very much for all the comments and all the emojis and all that. So that's that bit out of the way. So thank you for that. Right, so I was wondering what to talk about today. So I thought I'd be brave and throw it open to you lots. And I've had requests for 9/11 and not something that I feel qualified to sit here and waffle on about for about 10 minutes. So I've chosen to discuss what Helen Graham, hi Helen, I can see you on with me, to discuss what she has asked, which is how do you go about having self-control when it comes to eating and food, etc. So where should we start with that one? So let me think. As I've mentioned previously, if you have willpower and commitment, determination, then find your why. Why are you doing this, Helen? What is it that you want to achieve? Why do you want to change your body shape? Because presumably that's the underlying question, but behind the question. So what is it that you want from that? So it needs to be something that is going to push you through the dark days, the dark moments when your commitment falls or your motivation falls a bit. You need to have a strong enough why to push you forward. So as I've previously discussed, my wife and I went through IVF, and her why was to get pregnant, and she would, in her moments of weaknesses, think chocolate or baby. Which one won? The baby, every time. So that wasn't, that was so strong, so powerful, that the chocolate just went, it wasn't an issue. So if you can find a why that is big enough to drive you forward, then that will help. But what also helps is sometimes if you can't find a reason to do it for yourself, think about the people around you. Think about those who love you. And so you do it for them. So again, using our own situation, Safi would think, if I have this piece of chocolate now and I'm a pound overweight when they come to weigh me in 6 weeks' time, because she had to be under a certain weight for the IVF to go ahead. If she was a pound over and they said no, she would blame it on that chocolate. And then she would feel that she was letting me down, that she was letting her parents down because they wouldn't be grandparents. And so she did it for those around her, close to her. And that can be more powerful, actually, sometimes, when you do it for other people, because sometimes we don't believe that we're worthy. So we're quite happy to do it for other people, but not for ourselves. So if you can find a reason to do it for other people, and think about how they would feel if, well, I'll take it away from you, but how my wife feels, because she is overweight, she's quite happy to admit that. Sorry, Saf. she would, if she has a heart attack and dies, then she's robbing me of my life with her. She's robbing her parents of their daughter, her brother. You know, so many people will be distraught if she became so unhealthy that she lost her life due to what she's putting in her mouth and what she's eating. So finding a reason other than for yourself, if you can't find it for yourself, is a great way of going about it as well. Something's just come to mind, so I'll just touch on that now, is also using images. So my wife has an image of the actress and singer Martine McCutcheon, and she has that on the fridge door. And every time she goes into the fridge, she's seeing, as am I, which isn't a bad thing, she sees this picture of Martine McCutcheon in a bikini that was taken on a beach. And she thinks, oh, I'm not going to go in the fridge because I want to be like Martine McCutcheon. So my wife calls it girl porn. Not that she's looking at pornography, but just this attraction to a shape that she wants, an hourglass figure. It might be, as in this case, Martine in a bathing suit, but it could quite well be if she was in a beautiful evening dress or something like that, or even in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. You know, it doesn't matter. She collects these images of these girls. It's like, oh yeah, you know, I've got the same shaped body as her. If I didn't have my body fat, I would be like her. So she collects these images and she uses them as screensavers. And when she's feeling down, or when she's having a weak moment, she'll look at these images of these women. It doesn't matter who they are, but just that they've got the shape that she likes. And she thinks, you know, when I get this weight off, that is the shape that I'm going to have. And that motivates her then to carry on. The other thing to do with a picture is don't use a negative picture. So I've had clients in the past where they've put a picture of a whale, because that's what they think of themselves, and they've put that as the image on the fridge. That negative image, though, is the one that you are seeing all the time, and you're reinforcing that image. You're doing it the wrong way around if you use a negative image. You need to use a positive image, so you're feeding yourself positivity. You have to feed your mind as well as your body. So you feed your mind with as much positive as you can get, just as well as you feed your body with as much positive food as you can. So you don't neglect one side for the other. So don't use a cow or a whale or anything that people who may be overweight might use, because that's what they're called, because it's the wrong way of doing it. So use a positive image. Another idea that you can use is what's called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And the idea behind this is that you make something that you crave bad. So, for example, again, my wife uses all these tools that I'm talking about. So she will imagine a chocolate bar as being full of palm oil, and she'll think of the orangutans that are losing their habitat, and she'll think every time she bites it, she'll think of all that horrible salt and sugar and oil and all the horrible things that goes into making chocolate, clogging her arteries and putting weight on her face and on her belly and on her hips, and it just becomes so disgusting that it's like, oh no, I really don't want, I seriously, I do not want that. And she'll get that image and she'll imagine it. Really imagine this chocolate bar in your hand now, and you take it away from you. So in your hand, so use it with a pen, you take it away from your body as far as you can, making it get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you take it round the back of your head until it's gone out of sight. Okay? And it's just imaginary. Right? So it's out of sight. You can't see it. It's so small. You can hold it in the tip of your finger and you put it behind your head where it's gone. Meanwhile, you now imagine a juicy apple. The most beautiful apple, or orange or pear or banana or whatever it is. A nice piece of fruit or vegetable. And imagine biting into that. So if everybody is on here now watching me, just bite into a beautiful apple. Now, I'm salivating just thinking about it. Okay? And feel the juices going into your mouth. Feel the crunch of the apple. All that beautiful phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals that are in there going into your body, and it's making your body strong and powerful and your skin's glowing. See what I'm doing? So you want an apple. I'm thirsty now just thinking about an apple, right? Imagine how healthy that's what it's doing for your body. Take it all in. Imagine that apple as big as you can. So it's at a distance and you're going to bring it forward and you're going to bite into that apple. And that's neuro-linguistic programming. NLP. Just Google it and you'll find lots of ideas on how to deal with that. Another idea is moderation. Now, I'm doing a 90-day game plan where I'm staying off alcohol for 90 days. Now, the rugby, I'm a rugby fan, is starting tonight, and generally what men like to do when they're watching sport is have a beer while they're watching. And over the next few weeks, it was like, should I break my 90 days? And it's like, what's the point? If I have a beer tonight, I'll have to start again. And I'm 28 days. I'm 28 days in. If I have one beer tonight, if I have a sip of alcohol, I'm going to have to start again. And there have been days over the last few days now, I'm really beginning to, have to dig deep for self-control. But the thought of doing again, starting again, is enough to say, it's not worth it. For one drink, for a 90-minute game or an 80-minute game, it's not worth it, so I'm not going to do it. But it's easy to use a stepping stone progress. So if 90 days, it's a long time. But if you were doing it for 30 days, that's more achievable. And you could even do it on a strict diet for, say, 5 days or 6 days and have what we call a treat day. Some people use the term cheat day. I prefer the term treat day. So do you see what we're doing? Again, we're using positive words, not negative words. Cheat is negative. Treat is positive. So have a treat day where you can have a little bit. Be sensible, don't go overboard, just have a little bit. If, however, like I was talking to somebody today when we were doing the TMC Health Hub in the local cafe, she wouldn't be able to do that because once she starts eating chocolate and gets the taste for chocolate, she'll just want more chocolate and it wouldn't work for her. So instead of treating yourself with food, because there's that meme that goes around that says, don't treat yourself with food, you're not a dog. Treat yourself to having your nails done, going for a haircut, having a beard shave, having a posh beard shave or something like that if you're a bloke. Maybe getting a new shirt or t-shirt or an item. Let's move away from treating ourselves with food. Now, do you remember a few days ago I told you about the billboard sign that I saw many years ago when I was a young man, about 18 or 19, and it said, your child said its first word today, so we rewarded it with something that would rot its teeth. Stop treating ourselves with food. We don't need to be treated with food. Treat ourselves with something else. Buy an album, a CD, or some music, or, you know, a book, whatever, you know. But let's move away from treating ourselves with food. We've become so comfortable, even the poor are relatively comfortable, that they can afford to treat themselves with food. If we treat ourselves with something else, then that becomes something you can hold on to. You know, I'm looking, so maybe a nice pen. You know, I like my pens, so maybe a nice pen. You know, because I can't remember why I got this, but somebody, it was a gift. So somebody knows that because I'm an academic, you know, I write a lot. So a pen is something that is personal and something that I will use daily. So it doesn't have to be, you know, a new car or something, or £30 on a pair of shoes. You know, it can be a £5 pen. It doesn't matter. So treat yourself to something other than with food. So I think that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ideas there about how to overcome dealing with food. So Helen, give us some love and give us some thumbs up if that has helped in any way. Anybody else as well? Have I helped you in some way in controlling? Nothing's coming up. Oh, there we go. We've got one and a couple more. Thank you. So if the other thing to do is don't put temptation in your way. Right? Don't buy it in the first place. Don't have it in the house. Right? So my wife finds it's not a problem in the house. We don't have naughties in the house. I remember our goddaughter coming round and saying, where are the biscuits? And we said, we don't have any biscuits. And she was about 5 at the time. And she said, what kind of house is this? There was no biscuits in the house. So don't put temptation in your way. Don't buy it in the first place. So therefore, where's the temptation? The temptation then is where you are when you're shopping. So if you've got kids, they might be wanting stuff as well. What I would do is I would sit down with the kids and say, kids are quite astute. You know, there's so much around them these days. They know what healthy is all about. And I would sit down and tell them what you're doing and why you're doing it. Maybe your health isn't great, or you can't play with them as much as you'd want to do, or you want to be able to do things for their children in the future. And you know, if you carry on the way you're carrying on, that's not going to happen. Right? So sit down and explain it to them that you want them to come on the journey with you. Right? So that's always a good way. Get the kids involved. So get them involved. Tell them, you know, yeah, we shouldn't really be eating this moody cheese, you know, that's more plastic than it is cheese. You know, it needs to be real cheese, or not cheese at all. You know, get something else. Get, you know, fruit. Fruit should always be your first port of call. 2 or 3 days of eating fruit, and you'll realise your taste buds change, and you actually start craving more fruit. And I remember when me and my wife got together and I went shopping with her, and she's putting stuff in the basket and I'm taking it back out again. No, you can't have that. And it was all fresh food and greens and fruit and veg and all that. And I think about the only tinned that I allowed was baked beans, and they were unsalted. And at first she didn't enjoy an apple, And Saf, if you're on, you can give me some likes. You didn't like an apple, but within just 2 or 3 days, you found that your taste buds had changed so much that an apple was satisfying. It was so sweet. Now, when she sort of had a treat day and bought a little bar of chocolate, she couldn't believe how much sugar was in it and how artificial it tastes, just from 2 or 3 days of eating clean and healthy. So I think I've covered everything. I'll write this up tomorrow, just in bullet points, and I'll put it on my page, and you can have it there, you know, save it to a file or whatever, as ideas for how to avoid food. Firstly, don't put the temptation in your way. You know, don't go there. So avoid buying it. I mean, I'm sitting looking at alcohol while I'm watching my game in half an hour, but I like that sort of challenge. I'm sort of sadistic, masochistic in that way. I can cope with that, but you know, that's just me. If you can, great. If not, lots to think about there. Thanks, Joe. That you're absolutely welcome. So anytime you're struggling, just send me a message. I'm quite happy to talk. And if you ever want to do one of these, if anybody wants to go one-on-one with this, and we can FaceTime each other, by all means, I shall do that. I don't have a problem with that at all. So with that in mind, I'm off to watch my rugby and hope Wales beat France. Sorry, French people, if you're watching. So until tomorrow, I shall speak to you then. Okay, folks, bye for now.